Hi, my name is Nick. I commonly go by Tocinoman or Tosi on Wikia. I am an 18-year-old high school student living in Big Bend National Park, Texas. It's not exactly your average high school. From 9th to 12th grade, we have 40 students. I have a graduating class of 9, if that tells you anything. My life outside of Wikia includes keeping up with my high school coursework, taking online college classes, keeping up with community service projects in the national park, working part-time as a host and a busboy, and improving my level of physical fitness. I am still debating on whether I want to major in aerospace engineering or physics when I do go to college. I started off on Wikia in about 2009, I believe. I was an anonymous lurker. I would only use the Fallout Wiki once in a while. I would look up, the locations of certain in-game items or look up walkthroughs for a quest. But I never realized Wikia actually had specific communities within wikis. I guess I just kind of figured it was a bunch of anonymous users posting information to the public. It never occurred to me that it was people doing all of this. So in December 2011, I decided to make an account because I wanted to post about a potential bug on an article talk page without being anonymous. After a couple of weeks of having an account, my fellow Wikipedians introduced me to article editing, to which I soon became addicted, and I still am today. Wikipedia, the Fallout Wiki, is my main wiki. It is by far where I spend the most of my Wikia time, though I do occasionally pop into Community Central chat and even Call of Duty Wiki chat once in a blue moon, though it has been a while since I've been there. I used to be a moderator on the infamous Wiki, but I had to leave Wikia temporarily a few months ago to catch up on my studies, and during that time I guess I was removed from my position for inactivity. I do still lurk around the recent changes searching for vandals, however. My favorite thing about Wikia is just the idea that dozens, hundreds, sometimes thousands or millions of people who would otherwise never even see each other working together to accomplish a common goal. Contributors put aside their differences and put their talents together to provide information to the public. I wouldn't trade the people I've met and the things I've experienced on Wikia for the world. It has definitely changed my life, as I have seen my maturity and leadership prowess rise greatly during my time here. To be honest, I was not a very confident person when I started on Wikia. I was timid and often very shy when communicating with other users. The Wikipedia chat is what initially inspired me to keep going. I realized that I loved the group of guys and gals with whom I spoke almost daily. As I got more comfortable with the environment, I began to become a regular contributor, so much so that my peers at Wikipedia thought I should become a moderator, and later on an administrator as I am now. Being placed in a position of leadership means so much to me. It shows me that the Wikipedia community trusts in my abilities, and I know that I will continue to improve as both a contributor and a leader. Tip number 1. Don't be afraid to get involved. New users I meet are often just absolutely intimidated by the editor and the idea of permanently changing a page. The community of just about any wiki will happily accept and mentor a user who is willing to help. Tip number 2. You have to put in the work to get the results. Editing is very tedious business, and it requires a lot of dedication and willpower to learn properly. Tip number 3. If a wiki is large and has more policy and rules pages than you can count, don't be intimidated. There are other users and administrators who can help you get used to the ways of the wiki, so to speak. Nobody learns all of it at once. Even now, with over 2 years' time on my home wiki, I still learn things as I go. Tip number 4. If you have goals or desires of working your way up to higher positions in a Wikia community, work on your ability to communicate politely and effectively with others. As an administrator, chat moderator, patroller, bureaucrat, etc., you will represent your wiki and everything for which its users stand. As such, you need to be able to demonstrate that you are the type of person who deserves to lead others. Tip number 5. Most importantly, collaborate. Wikis could not exist without teamwork. Get to know the people alongside whom you work. If you join a project, talk to the project leader. See what he or she has in mind to improve the wiki. If you see a group of users working to accomplish a specific task, volunteer to help them. That is a really good question. One thing I have noticed in my experience is issues that come up when I'm trying to add images as borders to a sandbox or a user page. The standard Wikia preview mode does not allow me to see how the border will look when the page is published. This means that it can often take me 10 to 15 edits of trial and error to finally get the images where I want them. I think a full preview mode that will show how a page will exactly appear to any user would definitely be helpful. I can't really speak for other wikis, as I've only been a regular presence on less than a handful of them, but Nukipedia is a second home for me. The people alongside whom I have had the honor and the privilege of working are some of my best friends and personal mentors. Yes, even administrators have mentors. My fellow Nukipedians are my family. Chris, Gunny, Two Bears, everyone else there, I can't name everybody all at once. You are all just absolutely amazing, and they have just changed my life in so many ways. To my fellow Nukipedians, I just want you all to know that I can never appreciate enough the fact that I get to be here on Wikia working alongside people like you. Overall, I think the fact that everyone is so unique is something we all have in common, and that's what makes Nukipedia unique. I was actually Googling the outcomes of different Infamous missions to make sure I was keeping my character on the path I wanted, and I happened to stumble across the Infamous Wiki. By this time, I believe I was already a Nukipedia administrator, so I had quite a bit of Wikia experience under my belt already. As I was exploring the Infamous Wiki, I noticed that there were a lot of mission articles either missing completely or missing a lot of key components, such as images or background information. It was then that I began to use my knowledge and experience with the Infamous series to create new articles and improve the already existing ones. After I had spent a good deal of time there and demonstrated my ability as an editor, I applied for a moderator position. My request was happily granted by the local bureaucrat, and I used those rights until my time as a moderator came to an end. As my fellow Wikians may have implied by reading my answers, leadership skills are very important to me, and that's for a very good reason. I have recently been appointed to the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, and I'm still awaiting word of my status from the Air Force Academy and West Point. In any case, I am on a path to becoming an officer in the United States military. As an officer, I will have the lives of others in my hands, which is a huge responsibility that takes a great leader, and that's a leader I'd like to become. My goal in the military is to become a combat pilot for either the Air Force or the Marine Corps, and I'm hopeful that this experience will qualify me to apply for NASA astronaut training. That is my long-term goal. I will also be taking the admissions test for American Mensa in late March.